I don't remember anything. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how to get out of here. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I remember running from something and that's it. I blacked out. I don't have anything with me. I don't have a knife. I always have my knife. I must be in trouble. Something's not right. I gotta get out of here. Ow. I can't run anymore. My head is pounding. I don't hear anything coming after me. But you gotta get out of here. I don't have any water with me. I've got nothing to get food. I'm in big trouble. Stick in my back. I gotta think. What are we gonna do? I hear some water behind me. Let's get to the water first. And then I gotta come up with something. I don't see anything but woods. There's no trail. There's nothing out here. I can't keep running. I keep getting dizzy spells. I gotta sit down and figure out what I'm gonna do. I don't know which way to get out of here. Upstream, downstream. I know I can't leave the stream. I gotta follow something. If I get in the woods, I'll get turned around. I'll never get out of here. The river's flowing this way. The little beaver house up here hasn't been broken up, so I'm not worried about water. There's lots of water for me to survive, even if I have to stay here overnight. But I'm not gonna try to stay here overnight, even though I don't know where I am. I know water always leads somewhere, and it's a good thing to follow because at least it keeps you on a path, downstream or upstream. As long as I keep on this side of the river with it on my right shoulder, I could use the sun too to help me navigate, but the sun will move with time. The river won't. It'll always go down. Eventually I'll hit a lake or a house or a road or something. The question is, how long is it going to take me to get out of here? That's something I don't know. But what I do know is that I can do something proactive about me being here rather than just running aimlessly. If I can find enough resources in this forest, I can probably at least catch a meal. I do see some fiddleheads and I do see some marsh marigold kicking around. I know those plants I can eat, but not without boiling. It wouldn't be safe. So let's see what kind of materials are hanging around here that I can use. As unfortunate as it may be, this sight, this fishing line, is not uncommon. Fishermen routinely discard their fishing line wherever they please, which is a big problem for wildlife, but it's a good problem for me. Without much work, I've got myself some fishing line. Now you guys might think this is a put on, finding fishing line here, but I challenge you to go out to any culvert, any place where people fish routinely, and tell me if you don't find some fishing line. It's a big misconception that people have. If there's a survival situation, or if we get Armageddon, that we won't be able to find man-made materials anymore and we'll have to use primitive gorge hooks or bone. It's not true. This stuff persists in the environments for decades. Years, decades, sometimes centuries, as is the case with metals. So this is going to be my fishing line. It beats making primitive fishing line for hours, but now we need to find something to make a hook out of. There, that's probably all we need, but we're going to keep this handy just in case. Here's a good trick that you guys can use if you want to cut line but you don't have a knife or anything to cut with. Use your front teeth here and then just pull, and that will break off a piece of the line. So it's a combination of bite and pull with your front teeth, your snippers. This looks like good strong line. You never know what kind of line you're going to get when you're salvaging line, but this is good quality stuff. I should be able to get a good length out of it without having to unravel the whole bulk of this thing. There we go. And just wind this up and throw it in my pocket, just enough to tip the end of a fishing rod. So that comes to our next problem. We need something to fish with. Well, I found myself a piece of metal. There's metal all over the place, from old farm fences to just straight up trash. I'm not even really sure what this is from. It's kind of a mess of stuff. It actually looks like maybe part of a box spring mattress or something like that. But it should have enough pieces I can work with it. It is pretty pliable. It's also very heavy. Heavier than I would like to make a small hook, but I can maybe convince a very hungry fish to bite on it. So we're gonna see what kind of pieces we get off there. I gotta be careful I don't puncture myself with this because it's very rusty. And as we know, rust carries all sorts of problems like tetanus and things like that. I gotta make sure I don't lose these pieces because they blend in really well with the rest of the environment, which might be good for fishing. So you can see there's little break points, and metals kind of work like that, where you bend it back and forth enough times in the same place, that metal heats up, becomes brittle and breaks off. So we end up with a bunch of nice little pieces like this. You guys can see that or not. But what I'm hoping to do is actually be able to sharpen this up. First we're going to bend it out and we're going to try to polish it and thin it, because it's way too thick for anything except for a very large animal, and get some of this rust off. But I think this piece will do. I think this piece will do. Now what we need is a way to file this thing down to something a little bit more manageable. I'm just going to break this soft part off. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I'll keep that. There's not very many rocks around here, but there are some rocks in the water. Woo! Woo, that's cold. Ow, and deep. Too deep. Those rocks I was hoping to get are just out the way, but the mud is making me sink in past my pants. I don't want to get wet and cold. I have to find a different place. Whoa. Woo. Ooh. Ah, that's cold, really cold. Ugh. All right, now let's make a hook. Down here at this end is not very good. There's a bunch of bubbly edges. These are edges that will, if I bend it, it's a weak point. You can see how easily that breaks. So what I'm gonna do is work on this end. It's all even thicknesses all the way through. If you guys can see that there, it's even all the way across. Whereas this end here is kind of all janky. And that will for sure break where we don't want it to. But I'm going to work away at this end. I'm going to try to get as much of that material off as I possibly can, because I want the hook to be thin as possible so that the fish doesn't feel the weight of the hook. And then after we've got it into a hook shape, we're not going to be able to make a barb on this, I don't think. We're going to curl it, and then we're going to make a loop at the other end. I'm not really concerned about how long this is, because I know it's going to be really difficult to bend, so we'll curl this up later. Right now, let's get grinding. All right, we got something that looks, well, it doesn't look sharp, it actually is sharp. It would stick in my hand, make a nice weapon for a prisoner. Nice little gaff. Problem with this metal is, well, there's good and bad, right? The good part about this metal is it's very strong. The problem with this metal is it's very strong. So it's gonna be really hard to bend it. Thankfully, as I've been grinding it, it's tended to want to curl upward, which is what we wanted to do, because we want to make a hook out of this thing, at least enough to thread a worm on there or some other kind of bait that we can find out here in the woods. So let's try to bend this. I think the best way to do it is actually to apply some pressure top to bottom. You should be able to get it to curl. Now the problem is going to be to get a tight curl on this without breaking it, of course. It's going to want to make a big bend. We should be able to get it to kind of curl a little bit. Whatever we do, we have to convince a fish to actually put that in its mouth. So it's got a little bit of a bend now. We'll keep working on this. We can also use this other rock to hammer it and get that bend that we want. Well, there we go, guys. That's pretty good for what we can do with bush tools. Now we need to make an eyelet, because we got to get this to hold on to the fishing line that we found. So that's the next step. There, I folded it back on itself. Now we're just got to fold it back a little bit more to get that eyelet and then get rid of the extra chunk. There we go, bent back on itself. Now we got to get rid of that tail piece. That should be easy enough, just to bend it right in that spot. snap it off. It is a very, very big hook, but I've no doubt you could catch something big like a bass or a pike on it, or a walleye. It's whether the fish is going to be willing to accept the weight of that hook in its mouth without spitting it out. That's going to be the real challenge today. Now all we need is a fishing pole. Thankfully, there's a ton of alders in here, and they're fast-growing species, softwood, light, easy to work with. So we'll just grab one real quick, and we'll use it as our fishing rod. And then we need to find some bait. Well, that one didn't work. Everything's harder without modern tools. But we got it. Nice long alder. Get the rest of these branches off. Tie up. Get some bait. Get some food. 'Cause I'm starving. So I've left the tail just hanging off the back here. So any hungry fish that wants to grab that, the whole worm, it looks like a whole worm, will get this business. And that is a super, super sharp hook. See if we can get lucky. I'm snagged up in the bushes. Ouch! That hurt. Right in the knuckle. Well, I actually had a bite straight away and it stripped the tail. So I'm going to try another worm here. I can also pull the worm back a little bit and then pull it off to make another tail. But I think this will be a lot more effective if I actually put a brand new big fat juicy worm on there, because this is a heavy hook. I'm expecting a fish to take in whole. Whew, got him. That's a little chub. That thing took it all the way down in its gullet. Ugh. I get that thing out or not. Wow, that hook really worked. All the way down in the bottom. Jeepers. There we go. Ah, well, that hook worked. Despite having no barb and being gigantic, this would work really good on the bass. So I could see it would want to carry that weight. It's like, it's heavy, but it's like, well, if a fish is going to use it for a payoff, it's going to grab that big heavy weight. That worked, man. All right, let's see if we can get out of here. We're gonna follow this river out, and hopefully we're gonna end up with a road. My headache's gone away, thankfully. But let's see if we can cook this on a stove, because I really have no way to make it a fire. You guys hear that? I'm pretty sure there's traffic up this way. If I follow this river all the way up, pretty sure I'll get back to civilization. Do me a favor, guys. Use the code Beardsman down below for the mystery tackle box link. This is sponsored to this video. You're gonna get your first box for as little as $10. If you want me to do another survival fishing video, let me know. I'm gonna head back up the river. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna cook my chub at home. Cook my chub at home? That sounds funny.